Hey guys, welcome back. Hopefully you watched the first part of our story and now you can hear the rest of it. We're now in July of 2013 and went for the blood work, went for the ultrasound, and at some point, I think it was after our IUI got canceled, we did the HCG test, the dye test. For those of you that haven't had that done yet, it's not enjoyable. For those that don't know, they run the dye through your tubes to make sure that there's no blockages. There were no blockages, so that was all a go. We were good there. We tried again, and we went for the blood work, and my thyroid level had leveled out, but my progesterone was still high. So we were back to constant blood tests, trying to keep an eye on my progesterone. This is in the dead heat of summer, and I was going to work in turtlenecks because I looked like a junkie. Both my arms were just bruised to high heaven, and I could not go on an airplane looking like a junkie because I would lose my job in 2 seconds. Ended up getting canceled again for the month of July, and again, heartbroken. You know, you think of all these scenarios, when it was June, oh, we were going to have our insemination on our anniversary, that's got to mean something. When we were going to try in July, oh, we'd find out, the beginning of August, that's when our birthdays are. You play all these scenarios out in your head and then it doesn't work and you're crushed again. So that was July. Meantime, they put me on a steroid for my progesterone levels, to level my progesterone levels out and get them back to normal or lower than they were. August 1st, I went in for another blood test. Incidentally, it was my birthday. And we were feeling lucky. I figured, you know what? It's my birthday. Things have to go my way today. And they did. They called back later that afternoon and said my progesterone levels were right where they wanted them to be. My thyroid was good, and we were a go. Start taking the Clomid. I was excited. My husband, not so much. He heard Clomid, and he got a little scared again. So we started taking the Clomid. I started taking the Clomid again. He started hiding again. And we did our 5 days worth of Clomid, and we went in for back-to-back inseminations. And my husband got to go to the lazy boy. It's a big joke with us that he always has a date with the lazy boy. We did our back-to-back inseminations, and I thought for sure, all right, we've got the problem figured out. We got my levels straight, right where they need to be. We got them all in check. Everything's good. Where this is going to happen. This is really going to happen. That was the problem. And then it wasn't, because I still wasn't pregnant. So again, crushed. September comes, same thing. Now my doctor does everything in threes. So he'll do more if you want. But we were going to do 3 rounds of Clomid, and then we were going to move on. So we did our second round, same as before. The Clomid for 5 days, the Avidrol trigger shot, and didn't get pregnant. So now we're going into round 3. So we do round 3, same as before. My body is reacting good. I'm producing good follicles that are turning into mature good eggs. They're a good size. My husband's sperm count's good. The motility's good. Everything's good. So we go into October and go through the same thing. Same thing. Avidrol, or Clomid, Avidrol, IUIs, 2, we're done. So the end of the month comes, and I go on a 5-day trip, and my husband goes on a trip, and I start my period. And I call my husband sobbing hysterically. I call my mother sobbing hysterically, and wake up the next morning, go to the bathroom. There's nothing. Nothing's there. It's like the whole thing was a dream and I never started my period. So, because I have a slight addiction with peeing on a stick, I just so happened to have several handy-dandy pregnancy tests in my suitcase with me. So I decided to take a pregnancy test. Went and got back into bed, was reading my book, meandered back in there when I remembered, and saw something. Now, I'd seen a lot of negative tests, and this one wasn't negative. There was definitely a second line there. So I immediately got excited, but tried to maintain my excitement. I didn't want to call my husband on the phone and tell him I was pregnant. I didn't want to tell him on FaceTime. I wanted to tell him face to face. So I didn't say anything. I thought I'd just wait it out. I think I peed on like 5 more sticks that morning, and there was a line on all of them. I decided I was going to take one. Again, I was going to hold it. I wasn't going to go to the bathroom the entire day, and I was going to take one that night, which I did. And I saw it before I even got to the countertop. I saw it from around the corner. So I burst into tears. I was so excited, but I still couldn't tell my husband. So in the meantime, my husband calls me and he's freaking out. He's crunching numbers in his head and he's worried about how much the shots are going to cost because that's where we're heading next month, right? And he is basically giving himself a minor panic attack. Couldn't tell him. Didn't want to tell him yet. So I let him freak out. I know, I am an awful wife. So I let him freak out, went to bed, woke up the next morning to a phone call from my husband. He was in Minot, North Dakota. I was in Baltimore. And he told me he couldn't breathe and that he thought he was having a heart attack. And I thought to myself, I am slowly killing my husband. He's freaking out for no reason. Long story short, I wasn't killing him, and I wasn't giving him a panic attack. He had pancreatitis, so that made me feel a little bit better. But they took us both off of our trips, and so we went to a gift shop in the airport in Baltimore, and I found a book, and I wrote this cute little poem about how we were going to be a family of 3, and although, side note, another vlog entry is that a psychic told me we'll be more than a family of 3. But you don't have to believe me if you don't want to. So anyway, I ended up telling him in the middle of the Minneapolis airport, which is fitting because we met on a plane, and we both work for the airline, so I guess it made sense, right? He cried, I cried, we were so happy. Within the next 24 hours, I told my parents, he told his parents, and it was later that night I started not feeling right. And it wasn't like I was queasy. It wasn't like, I don't know, I just didn't feel right. And I started bleeding heavier. Sorry, I have a cold. And I started freaking out. I knew something wasn't right. And I was supposed to go into the doctor the next morning to confirm my pregnancy. And we did. We went in and they confirmed that I had been, in fact, pregnant, but that I had lost the baby. So that was when the term chemical pregnancy came into my life. I hate that term. Whoever created that term needs to, I don't know, go somewhere because that's awful. It makes it sound like A, you made it up, and B, like it should hurt any less, because let me tell you, it doesn't. I don't care if it's 5 days, 2 days, 10 days, I don't care, it still hurts. So my husband and I were heartbroken. We were absolutely crushed. Our doctor tried to keep us, focused and said, because it was so early, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to try again right away. But we were going to the shots. Nobody wants to do shots. to do shots. I will if it'll get me pregnant, but I don't want to do shots. So we, of course, had to tell the few people that we had told. We didn't tell many people, and I'm sure a lot of you watching right now that do know Brandon and myself are kind of getting thrown for a loop because you didn't know. We hadn't really told anybody because we had just found out. I'm so sorry to those family members and friends that are just finding out on YouTube. We did. We hopped right back in the saddle and started the shots. So they had me doing 100 units of Follistim for, I think I ended up doing it for like 6 or 7 days. It was a little bit longer than the Clomid. And then the Avidril trigger shot again, and then the 2 back-to-back IUIs. I thought, all right, everybody said, the nurse had told us, the Clomid produces a lot of eggs, but they're not good quality eggs, which is probably why your pregnancy didn't last, because, it was the egg wasn't a good enough quality. Okay. So, but the shots produce quality and quantity. Sounds good to me. Sign me up. Give me a shot. A lot of shots. So we did the shot. I had read all these stories about how, all these women get pregnant right after a miscarriage, and I thought, this is it. We're going to get pregnant. And we didn't. So we had to take the months of November and December off because of the holidays and our jobs. There was no way that we were going to get the time off of work that we needed. So I went back in January 18th and had blood work done. In the meantime, during our 2 months off, they decided they were going to change my protocol up a little bit. And I'm still going to do the Follistim and the Avidril, but they wanted to add Lupron. And from the research that I've done, or the Googling that I've done, I don't know, it appears as though Lupron's done more with IVF than IUI, but whichever, they know what they're doing. I don't. So I started the Lupron last night. I'm on day 2 of Lupron, and I'm almost thinking crazier than I was on Clomid, not gonna lie. And the headaches are awful. They're awful. So I'm hoping those get better. Plus then I got sick in the middle of it all, and I'm like terrified to take anything because I don't want to mess anything up. So we are on day 2 of Lupron. They are telling me that I am going to be taking this basically until I do my trigger shot. Cycle day 3, I'll go in for my normal blood work and ultrasound. And then I'll start the Follistim. So I'll be doing the Lupron and the Follistim at the same time. I told the nurse, I better get pregnant this month because I'm going to be like a piece of Swiss cheese with all these freaking shots. So she laughed. I wasn't joking. I'm going to be a holy mess. So that's where we stand now. We're on day 2 of Lupron, waiting for the Wicked Witch of the West to come this month. And she should be here-ish. I don't know. But thank God we've got vacation time next month, which is going to help with all these doctor's appointments because it's crazy. So I suppose that's just about it for where we are right now and catching you up so far on our journey. You all know, you're all going through it too. I just hope that, it can help somebody. And if not, it'll make somebody realize that they're not alone. I'm watching all these people get pregnant, like Snooki and JWoww and all these people, and I'm wondering, the heck is wrong with me? Why am I not getting pregnant? Maybe I need to fist pump a little bit more and I'll get pregnant. I'm not really sure. But it'll happen. I have faith. It'll happen for all of us. On that note, until next time, YouTubers, see you later.